This is Right to Life Radio. And now, here's your host, John Girardi.
It's the first Saturday of the month, and as we do every first Saturday, we like to share with all of you, our listeners to Right to Life Radio, the stories about some of the work we are doing directly with women who are considering abortion, women and couples who are considering abortion. Mm-hmm. And with here, as always, to join us is Linda Teliha from Right to Life of Central California, who's our chief sidewalk advocate, as we call her. Linda, welcome back to Right to Life Radio. CSA? Oh, Chief Sidewalk Out. I don't know if Chief is actually in your time.
I'll take it.
You're the one. Yeah, you're the gal. So anyway, again, always good to have you sharing these stories. So I want to kind of share with the audience again, the nature of our ministry there, for those who may be listening for the first time, is we at Right to Life rent a building right next to Planned Parenthood. It was an old print shop. Our volunteers hang out in kind of the print floor area, and then we have a private sort of office in the front where Linda or other volunteers, sidewalk advocates, can interact with women or couples who are considering the abortion question in a more private setting, and just be that person to talk with, be that one extra person who could maybe, give them a different opinion, a different option, think through their options. And you had a singular day in which you sort of experienced both the highs and lows of this work. And I think that'd be an excellent way for our audience kind of to understand the nature of the work we're doing at Right to Life. So the floor is yours.
I think I want to lead into that with how successful we are regardless of these hard days.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like you have more when you actually start to engage and interact with someone, I feel like you have far more wins. Happy, successful outcomes rather than
wins.
Yeah, rather
That's
than
my competitive nature.
Rather than, and it's a thing. I mean, it's also a thing of, obviously, if someone refuses to talk to you and goes on and has an abortion, we often don't know about that. We might not know why someone's going in.
Right.
But it seems like once you actually start the conversation, more often than not, it's something happy and successful.
Yeah, it usually is. Since June, I've had 22 or 23 moms choose life. And what that means is not they just go, yeah, okay, thanks, I'm going to have a baby. See ya. That means that they actually start the conversation out on the sidewalk with me, and I actually walk them into the building, and we sit down and we have a conversation, and they end up taking their mommy bag home. We exchange phone numbers, and
you have, in many cases, you have an ongoing communication with them after the fact. And we've done stuff to the level of whether it's providing them with ongoing support. We'll talk in the next segment about throwing baby showers for some of them, helping out. You were
resources.
Helping out the dad in the case of one couple. I talked with him on the phone. We tried to help him find a job, to help him with counseling services, things like that. So it's not just I'm not having a baby. See ya.
Peace out.
Yeah, peace out. Yeah, exactly.
Well, so this one, since you mentioned that you actually talked to one of the guys, this situation that that really went horribly bad is another example of the lack of control that the fathers have. This situation happened where I ended up talking to a guy who was sitting in the car, and he finally did say, she's going to have an abortion. And he was sitting in the car, and he was bouncing his 8-month-old baby on his knee. And so I don't know why he had to say on his knee, but he's
he's holding the baby, holding the 8-month-old baby.
He had the baby, okay. Yeah. And so he's just like, she's just already made up her mind. That's how she is. And so finally, I kind of pushed a little further, and I said, "Is this what you want?" And he said, "No, no." And I said, "Well, have you told her?" And he said, "Yeah, kind of." And I said, "Well, what do you mean, kind of?"
You got a more than kind of. Yeah.
Get in there. Yeah. And this is where we are so blessed with this security guard that we have, where he just pipes up over my shoulder and goes, "Dude, this is where you go in and you say, hey, we're not doing this. Yeah. Like, I got you. I'm going to take care of you." And it's nice to have a guy's input, and he's just kind of coming out of nowhere.
When you're talking to a guy, Deshaun, our security guy. Yeah.
So then I ended up saying, "Hey, do you want to just come in to our building right next door and talk?" And he was like, "Yeah, I think I do." So he comes in, and on his way in, I can tell he's on the phone. And I said, "Are you talking to her?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Let me talk to her." So I get on the phone with her, and I'm like, "You know what? You don't have to do this. Just give me a chance. Come out. Let's have a 5-second conversation. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I just want to tell you what this could look like if you decide to have an abortion." She's like, "Okay, yeah, I'll be out there in a minute." I was like, "Cool, good. That was easy." And so we go in the building and get situated, and time goes by, and I'm like, "Wait,
She's not coming.
she ain't coming."
Yeah.
So he gets back on the phone with her again. Actually, what he ended up doing next was going over there. He went over there to try to get her, and she told him she was going to come out. So we're like, "Yeah, good, it worked." She didn't come out.
Yeah.
So then the next thing that happened was we were both on the phone with her, and she's like, "Well, I can't leave." And I said, well, why not? She goes, "Well, they're going to tell me I can't leave or do whatever." And I said, "You got to be kidding me.
You can
It's
leave.
your body, your choice."
It's your body, your choice. Yeah, you
it's
can leave.
Like that's you're in the
You're not in jail. You're not under
in that
arrest.
world.
You can leave.
Your
You
body, your
just walk
choice.
out.
Just leave.
Yeah.
And I said, I literally have had people walk out with the IV in their arm. Just tell them you're going to leave.
Yeah.
This is your
You can leave.
This is your choice.
Yeah. It's not against the law.
And so she's like, "Okay, I'll do that."
Yeah.
She didn't come.
Yeah.
So next thing, we're on the phone again. And she says, "Well, my water broke."
Yeah.
So
And how many weeks pregnant was she?
Like 17.
Like 17, yeah. Yeah. So at that point, they'd probably already tried to get the process started.
Yeah, 17 weeks. That's what she told us. "Well, I already took the medicine." And I'm like, "It's okay. There's things we can do. That's no guarantee, but at least you'll know that you walked out and you
tried your best.
You tried your best."
Yeah.
So she said that, and we just all quietly got off the phone. And then it turned into a conversation with the father. Here's the father. He's just sitting in the chair, and you can just watch the life go out of him.
Yeah.
Like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, at this point, this is way out of my expertise. I don't do this part, but here's a phone number. This is someone you can talk to, and you'll need to talk to them. And then you're going to just have to make some decisions. You're going to have to figure out how to live with this and know that you did everything you could."
Yeah.
But also don't forget, this didn't happen today. And you guys are young.
Yeah. And these were, and there were, and that's the thing, like so much of what we try to do with education stuff, even with some of the sexual risk avoidance stuff that we're presenting more and more, it has to do with if we can have one, or all of our educational presentations really, if we can have one solid voice in someone's head to not start the activity, the lifestyle, whatever, to get us down this road.
Right. I mean, I used to, when I did actually teach health, this is something that we talked about was, that it's okay to own your own body, that's part of self-esteem. And that's kind of, we all decided that that's what's missing.
Right.
We're missing the point of being able to say no.
Yeah, this is not
Both
the
people.
appropriate ordering of things.
Having self-control, having
delayed
patience.
gratification. I mean, the whole success sequence of if you do all this stuff in the right order, your odds of poverty diminish drastically.
So that kind of ended with we're all sitting there and he's crying, but we didn't really know what else to do. It kind of had to go that way. You can't change that, and
there's no way of changing that. This is a very sad thing that has happened. Yeah.
So I just sort of looked at him, and Deshaun looked at him, and I said, "We have a forgiving God.
Yeah.
Forgive yourself.
Yeah.
You got to go on. You got this little baby in your
you got to take care of this kid. Yeah.
And Deshaun was really good about this, and just saying like, "Hey, look at this bundle of joy. Just take care of that baby and do whatever you have to do." Because he was like, "I told her I would do anything. I have a job. We have an apartment. I can." And we just said, "Well, pray."
Yeah. Well, so that was the low part of the day, but there had also been a high part of the day. So in the course of one day, this roller coaster. Tell us about the good part.
Yeah. So the ironic thing was early in the morning, I talked to somebody who found out they were pregnant with twins, and they were like, I don't know what to do. I haven't known this person very long.
No one has ever found out they were pregnant with twins and thought, I am totally prepared for
Hallelujah.
this. Yes. Oh boy, I'm totally equipped for this. Yeah.
Well, she hadn't known her partner for very long, but she's like, I could see myself marrying him, and I think it'll be fine, but I'm scared about telling him and all this and that. She was like, but these are my kids.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna
she was genuinely walking into Planned Parenthood though with the idea of.
Well, no, she was walking in and she was getting the she was taking a pregnancy test. I think maybe she had already had one or something, and she took the pregnancy test, and then she came back out and she was like, "Yep, it's twins." Yeah. And she had an ultrasound with that, which is always amazing to me to see multiples on the ultrasound. It's just amazing. Yeah. And she was like, I can't do this, and I'm like, said every mother.
Yeah, every mom. Yeah, as we said, every mom who's ever learned she was having twins ever has said, "Oh my gosh, how the hell am I going to do this?" Yeah.
So we ended up talking, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm going to go home." And as a follow up, I have talked to her, and she said, "Yeah, I went home, and the whole family said, hey, this is a great blessing. We got you. His family, her family, and
wonderful.
We're on our way, and it's good."
Well, and again, it just seems like, with having these discussions earlier on in the process and thinking these things through earlier on in the process is so critical for so many of these people. But and again, it's why we promote some of the the SRA stuff with the younger, that we can get people to think clearly about this stuff. Well, and even I don't know if we did a show about this. I was reading some stuff about Planned Parenthood before we get to the break here. I was reading some stuff about about various contraceptive methods. And basically, within 2 years, the massive percentage chance that you will experience pregnancy in spite of being on those contraceptive methods, like a 1 in 4 chance for most forms of contraception. And if you're consistently using it, as most people consistently use it, and it just makes me sort of realize, Planned Parenthood and the broader culture is really selling this lie to unmarried people, people who are not in a position, or are not in an ideal position anyway, to bring a child into the world. They're selling this lie that yes, you can have sex as much as you want, and it's okay. Here's your birth control, and there won't be any consequence. And over the course of 2 years of having an active sex life, about 1 out of every 4 of these people are realizing in a very abrupt way that is not true. And it's such a lie that I think is being sold to kids, to teenagers especially. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're lazy.
Yeah.
And it's
the easy way out.
Yeah. If you talk to anybody who's like, yeah, but I was on birth control, and I'll say, well, so every day, or there was that one time.
Well, and that's the thing, is that Planned Parenthood banks on there's the rates with as people typically use it, and then with perfect usage. Even with perfect usage, the percentages are pretty high that you're still going to have a breakthrough pregnancy. But as most people use it, obviously most people use it imperfectly, and that's what Planned Parenthood's banking on, and literally and figuratively banking on, because I think birth control is just kind of a loss leader for them. If we give birth control to 4 patients, assuming they will consistently use it over the course of the next 2 years, one of them is going to come back for an abortion, or one of them is going to be pregnant in the next 2 years, and maybe of those, maybe half. So 1 out of every 8 people we give birth control out to might come back for an abortion. That'll pay for the other 7.
That makes sense, because I know I've talked to people who are involved in the post-abortive mission, and their numbers, their statistics were always 1 in 4 women have had an abortion. They'll say, look around your church.
Yeah, well, just anywhere. Yeah,
1 in 4.
By the age of 65, 1 out of every 4 American women will have had an abortion.
And it's such a shame.
It's an unbelievable
that we have
thing
to experience that.
All right, when we return, we'll talk about a wonderful baby shower we had for one of our moms, and Linda will share her story. That is next on Right to Life Radio. Right to Life Radio, we are here with Right to Life's Linda Teliha, sharing our stories from the sidewalk. We at Right to Life Central California, we have our ministry where we're directly interacting with women and couples going into and out of Planned Parenthood, considering abortion, and giving them that extra voice to talk with. For one of those moms, we just had a baby shower this week. So, Linda, why don't you share about this mom and her story?
So this mom's story is the one that we hope for. Where we get in these grooves where we start talking about what to put on the sign. And we're thinking, oh, this is going to make all the difference in the world.
Like the sidewalk signs that our volunteers hold.
Yeah. So some of the volunteers hold signs, or we have them up on the wall or whatever. And we're going to find
what's the silver bullet?
What's the one?
Yeah.
And so the one that I love, I really do love this one, is you can have your baby in your dreams too. Makes sense.
Yeah.
And I mean, personally, I know this is true because I did. I mean, that's my story.
Right.
And I'm sticking to it. But so we had this sign out on the sidewalk, and we were having a baby shower, and this woman walks up and she's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I
so it's that one random mom who showed up at that other baby shower that we had. Oh, okay.
She
Wow.
just
All
walked
right.
up and she's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" And I'm like, "We're having a party. You're not." No.
Yeah.
No, come on in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What's up?" And she says, "Well,
yeah,
I'm pregnant and I was going to have an abortion." But my boyfriend said, "Hey, take a look at that sign. You can have your baby in your dreams too." Honey, why don't you just have the baby? Because you can still have some dreams.
There you go.
And so she's like, "Yeah, maybe I." And that was it. That really was all. As far
literally
as I
that
know,
one sign.
It took.
You know, that's an
By the way, this is
yeah.
fifth of 5 boys. So
wow, there you go.
I mean, talk about.
I mean, in fairness, as someone with 5 kids, I'm not sure that our house is necessarily more chaotic with 5 kids than it was with 4. So at that point, maybe
5 boys.
Well, 5 boys is pretty nuts. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Although I don't know, the girls are that much less chaotic.
Well, I don't know. I only have girls.
They are differently chaotic. I'll say that. Well, you know, that is the thing that we've talked about this before. The no-show rates that Planned Parenthood has always talked about, the no-show rates that they have in their clinics when someone's on the sidewalk go up. And half of the purpose of our outreach ministry is really just being there. It's because
I mean, that was
you
the
don't
statistic.
know. Yeah, and it's a thing of you don't. There are, for all of the wonderful conversations, like we do this show every month where we discuss people who've said yes, and we've had approximately 23 women say yes just since June. But for all of them, there are undoubtedly a bunch of people that we have no idea about who might have said
totally
yes
agree.
just because we happen to be there, and it's not their obligation to tell us that. And this seems like maybe that, had she not happened to run into you guys, maybe that could have been one of those stats. Yeah.
Well, and when I first started working here, I did this training, and the statistic stuck in my mind, and that was that for if one person is out on the sidewalk, it decreases abortion by 30%. And the numbers just go up the more people you have out there, because I guess it shows the presence. And who wants to go anywhere in front of people?
Yeah, and
you just
don't
want to.
Yeah, and it's not a thing of us like intimidating people or being hostile or anything like that. I think it's just a thing of like,
it's
if
a
you
you
realize this is like such a controversial topic that these otherwise normal people are taking time out of their day to hold a sign and pray a rosary. Like, maybe you think twice about it. Maybe you already probably, like you say, it's a conscience breaker. Yeah.
So I put this reel up once, and it was of the Knights of Columbus standing out in front of Planned Parenthood. Everyone is over the age of probably 55. And somebody made a comment on there, "Oh, yeah, these are real warriors." Well, you know what? The majority of the population has a grandfather.
Yeah.
And if you're going to go tell somebody that you did something wrong, who is it not going to be?
Yeah, you don't want to.
Grandpa.
Yeah, you don't want to disappoint your grandpa. Yeah.
Hey, Grandpa, guess what?
Yeah, guess what I did? Yeah.
So it doesn't matter who is out there. I don't think each person can identify with any person.
It's more the conduct of the people there, and the quality and their attitude. Like, I've seen guys and gals in not at our ministry, but in different contexts, who make asses of themselves and look like idiots and are shouting and yelling. And I've seen, some of the guys who come out for 40 Days for Life from Visalia, for instance, like one of our volunteers, I love him, Joe, and he goes, so a big guy, he's got to be 6'4", like, and he's just the sweetest, kindest, gentlest man I've ever met in my life. And I think just to see a man like that humbly praying, not intimidating anyone, not yelling or screaming,
I agree,
is a powerful thing.
Yeah.
So
anyway, to end this, we just had a baby shower for this mom who is going to have her dreams too.
Yeah, and that's awesome.
It was fun doing the planning and talking to the different people, because everyone now wants to know, okay, which one was that? And
well, and we have so many now. It's really cool how we've sort of developed this whole group of gals. So, all right. Well, thank you, Linda, for being on.
Thank you.
And we will be back right after this with more from Right to Life Radio. Our thanks to Linda Teliha for joining us. We are now going to shift gears to a story that is a California-wide abortion story that touches us here in the San Joaquin Valley because it was an issue in Visalia, and it's even coming all the way to Beverly Hills. And it has to do with a new California legislative proposal to basically try to force local governments to just approve new abortion clinics as they're established, and to take away any ability by citizens to limit the establishment of new abortion clinics in their municipalities through objections at city councils or planning commissions or zoning entities, all the different kind of municipal government entities. And it centers around this bill, AB 2085. And the issue has now been covered by calmatters.org. So first I'll describe what this bill does. Basically what the bill says is, if there's a proposal introduced to a municipal government, a city government, a county government, whatever, for the establishment of an abortion clinic, as long as the proposal meets certain very basic benchmarks, that it's within the right, it's in an area zoned for either office or retail or healthcare or parking, where those are principal uses, that it's for a community clinic, that it complies with certain minimal construction standards, that it meets the local agency's objective design review standards, that it doesn't involve demolishing a historic structure and doesn't involve demolishing homes. All right. So as long as it meets those basic criteria, basically their city ceases to be a discretionary role and it's just an administrative role. So basically what this state law would say is, if someone's trying to build an abortion clinic and they meet certain baseline standards, the role of a city government is just to be a rubber stamp. Just say, yep, there you go. It's an administrative process. It's just go through the motions, rubber stamp the application. It's fine. You have no discretionary authority. And to kind of reinforce that, one of the things they state in this new bill, again, this is AB 2085, at the end of it, it says, the legislature finds and declares that reproductive freedom, including the right to abortion and contraception, is a fundamental constitutional right. Protecting this right and ensuring access to reproductive health services, as set forth in this act, is a matter of statewide concern and is not a municipal affair, as that term is used in, and then it gives the relevant section of the California State Constitution. So basically, it's a law that's going to try to argue this. And to understand this, you kind of need to understand certain aspects of California law. So in California, local governments, like county governments and city governments, they purely exist as creatures of state government. If a state government, they don't have their own sort of independence from the state of California. Fresno's county government, the city of Fresno's government, the city of Clovis's government, city of Reedley's government, has basically no independence on its own, separate from California state government. It's not like, there are certain prerogatives that states have over and against the federal government. Doesn't exist that way within California. Cities and counties, they exist as creatures of state government. All of the parameters for what they can and can't do are set by the state. So what this law would say is, one, you have no discretionary role in the approval process for an abortion clinic anymore, cities or counties. You are just a rubber stamp to say yes. As long as it meets certain basic requirements, you have to say yes to the establishment of an abortion clinic. And the other thing it says is, in fact, abortion, contraception, reproductive health care, it's not a city concern. It's purely a state concern. So you even considering the question of abortion at all at the level of the city is inappropriate. Now, why are they doing this? Well, there have been a couple of examples throughout the state where new abortion clinics, there have been efforts to open new abortion clinics, and local pro-life advocates have worked to stop it. There's a story in Cal Matters by Alexei Kosov about this very point. Now, calmatters.org is statewide California politics website. It was started by Dan Walters. It usually has a lot of really good, interesting reporting. So here's this piece. And it looks at the attempt to establish a so-called all-trimester abortion clinic in Beverly Hills, of all places. Beverly Hills. The billboards popped up in January, looming above busy intersections near the city limits of Beverly Hills, where such advertising is banned. Los Angeles should be safe for abortion seekers, declared the signs, which depicted a group of 4 young women of color staring defiantly at passerby. Fight back against attempts to shut down DuPont Clinic. Weeks later, at a forum ahead of Beverly Hills' March city council election, moderator Andrea Grossman pressed the crowded table of candidates about their position on abortion rights. Are you pro-choice? And what is your view about abortion clinics in Beverly Hills? She asked. Would you take steps to keep out abortion clinics in the city if there were likely to be disruptive protests? Nearly a year after DuPont Clinic, a Washington, D.C. provider that performs abortions into the 3rd trimester and sought to open a clinic in one of California's wealthiest and most famous communities, lost its lease at a medical center on Wilshire Boulevard, Grossman and a small band of local activists are still laboring to draw a spotlight and stoke a sense of outrage that matches their own. Despite the sympathetic politics of Beverly Hills, which lit its city hall pink to protest the 2022 U.S. Supreme Court Dobbs decision that overturned a constitutional right to abortion, it didn't overturn a constitutional right to abortion. It said that that right never existed. Anyway, whatever. It has been a struggle. While more than 2/3 of local voters joined Californians statewide that November to enshrine reproductive freedom into California's constitution, few of them now seem to be paying attention to what Grossman calls a hideous situation that undermines that very protection. The only thing that so they are this angry. Again, let's describe what they're angry about. It's not like if you live in Beverly Hills, you can't get an abortion. This is anger over the establishment, over the non-establishment, the decision not to establish a 3rd trimester abortion clinic, an abortion clinic that specifically specializes in providing abortions into the 3rd trimester. That's what we're talking about here. In 2023, said Grossman, we have to start Beverly Hills for choice, she said. How crazy is that? They're so mad. So basically, what happened in Beverly Hills was that this 3rd trimester abortion clinic wanted to start a clinic in Beverly Hills. It loses its lease. And seemingly, this is in response to local pro-lifers who were sort of agitating about it, and the landlord dropped the lease. So they are so angry at this. And this is something that happened in Visalia, okay? Our friends from Tulare King's Right to Life, and we helped them out with this. we pitched in a little bit. We helped with like drafting letters and stuff for city council members, things like that. Planned Parenthood Marmonte has it several times wanted to establish abortion clinics in Visalia, in Tulare, and Tulare King's Right to Life was able to beat those efforts back, chiefly by appealing to the owners of these properties where Planned Parenthood or other abortion clinics wanted to get started, and encouraging them by saying, hey, don't sell to this place. We'll be protesting out here if you do. This is a bad entity. This is not something our city needs. So there is this fury on the part of the abortion industry and the media that there are some places in California where it's harder to get abortions. The piece goes on. Many counties in California have no abortion clinics at all. Because the procedure is prohibited once a fetus can live outside the womb, around 24 weeks of pregnancy, except when the life or health of the mother is threatened, most providers will not treat women who need abortions late in their pregnancy, forcing them to leave California for care. Although we just discussed last week that actually what's indicated for post-viability complications is not abortion, but actually premature delivery. So there we go. There are no gestational limits in 9 states and Washington, D.C., where DuPont Clinic performs abortions up to 32 weeks. So, and this is another thing that I think the author of this piece is getting a little wrong. There's actually a lot of confusion right now in California law about our gestational limit. So California law was forever, abortion cannot be performed after a fetus is viable. Okay, so capable of surviving outside the womb. Abortion is legal until the fetus is viable, and it's only legal after viability if the mother's life or health is threatened. Now, that's really not much of a limitation. Abortion providers have basically the leeway to say, well, of course her health is implicated. Health is implicated with every pregnancy, so therefore I'll perform this abortion. And really, the only thing that's really been limiting California abortion providers from providing third trimester abortions has been wherewithal and know-how. Okay, not every clinic is equipped, or every doctor is willing to perform abortions that late into a pregnancy. So whatever legal restrictions there were on abortion, they weren't all that strong. When Proposition 1 was introduced in 2022, and this proposition was to enshrine a right to abortion in the California state constitution, there was no mention in enshrining this right in the California constitution, no mention about gestational limits. And there were different explanations for that given by the activists on the one hand and the politicians on the other. The politicians said, oh, no, Proposition 1 is not changing anything about abortion law on the ground. But the activists, the actual abortion doctors who helped draft it, said, yeah, we're deliberately not mentioning gestational age limit because we want to get rid of gestational age limit restrictions. And now I've heard, doctors explicitly saying, yeah, there's no age limit in California. There's no gestational age limit on abortion in California. So I think even this article is off base there. But what you see happening is the abortion industry is furious at, again, efforts in Beverly Hills to pressure local owners into not giving a lease to an all trimesters abortion clinic. A similar effort that happened in Visalia, and another effort that apparently happened in San Bernardino County, in Fontana, California. Tony Atkins jumped in. We are feeling the backlash of the state taking a very strong stand in support of very strong access, said State Senator Tony Atkins, a San Diego Democrat who ushered Proposition 1 onto the ballot. The more rights people seem to gain, the more those who are directly opposed become more vocal. John Dunn, president and CEO of Planned Parenthood of Orange and San Bernardino counties, said the organized resistance is more intense than he's ever seen in his 30-year career. Aggressive demonstrations now require full-time security staff at every clinic, he said, while local officials who might have once backed down under threat of a lawsuit are standing firm. It ramped up after Trump, and then it ramped up again after the Dobbs decision, Dunn said. The folks on the extreme of the issue are more extreme and more willing to dig in. more willing to be extreme with peaceful, lawful, First Amendment protected protest? Is that what that's what we're upset about here? The Planned Parenthood affiliate has been trying to open a clinic in Fontana, California since 2022. The permit process was first delayed by months, but by what Dunn said were absurd corrections from city officials to their building plan, such as demanding sconces for decorative lighting. Shortly after the permits were finally approved last summer, the city council passed an emergency moratorium on development in the section of Fontana where the proposed clinic was located. So it's what's happening in Fontana, which is the core reason, I think, why this legislation is being passed. They want to stop conservative cities from exercising control and being able to say, no, we don't want an abortion clinic in our town. We'll dig more into this after the break. This is Right to Life Radio, production of Right to Life Central California, rtlcc.org. We're back with Right to Life Radio. We're talking about Assembly Bill 2085, which is apparently in response to the pro-abortion side is furious that there are cities in California that are trying to sort of fight back to stop the establishment of new abortion clinics within their cities. Visalia stopped this through private measures. Pro-lifers in Beverly Hills stopped this through private measures. And the city of Fontana, California, in San Bernardino County, their city council sort of delayed and eventually put a moratorium on all development in the part of the town that Planned Parenthood wanted to get started in. And this has led to this, now the city of Fontana is saying, no, it had nothing to do with Planned Parenthood doing abortions. This is leading to the state basically wanting to shut local governments completely out of the abortion discussion, having any sort of discretion over whether or not abortion clinics will be established through Assembly Bill 2085. Now, again, it's amazing to me the level of just absurd anger over all of this, where basically they're so angry that Beverly Hills didn't open not just any abortion clinic, a third trimester abortion clinic, genuinely a clinic that provides abortion for fully developed, viable babies. That is the kind of, that is the kind of stuff that they are upset about. So what happened? Well, in April of 2023, a group called Survivors of the Abortion Holocaust projected the words "murder mill" onto the side of the building that basically DuPont Clinic wanted to set up. And this is the Washington, D.C. based clinic that performs abortions into the third trimester. And three opponents spoke during a city council meeting, with one suggesting that Beverly Hills would develop a reputation for condoning murder if it allowed the clinic to open. DuPont Clinic has chosen Beverly Hills to host a massacre, Tasha Barker, a Sacramento paralegal leading a group called Stop DuPont Clinic, said by phone at the meeting. I'm asking you to consider how extreme this clinic is. Pause the approval of their building permits and place this issue on the agenda for the next city council meeting. So this is like, and so the city council members were like, hey, boy, a late-term abortion clinic like this could be the focus of protests, rallies, and unfortunately, other more violent actions on occasion. Well, first of all, I think that's ridiculous. How many, quote, violent abortion protests there are. I think that's ridiculous. But I think it's interesting that the pro-abortion side is so unpopular in individual communities that they basically have to just coerce these cities into compliance. And that's the only way they're going to get what they want. That'll do it for us at Right to Life Radio. We will see you next time on Power Talk.